Alright, the highlights from Friday, GreatStockPicks.com, in our live trading chat room. I only made a few calls today. I might go over them and the reasons real quick. I want to start my weekend. DFS, Discover Financial, we had it on watch because yesterday, well, actually before yesterday, looked like it was rolling over, and then you get the surprise gap up and a very strong volume day to break out territory. So what does that mean? I just throw it on watch. I'm not just going to jump in today at the open. I'll add today's candle now, and you can see it some indecision today. But how did I call it? Early on, let me zoom in a little bit. These are 5-minute candles. Right here is the opening 5-minute candle. Okay, so early on, it sells off. And let me scroll over. Bounces. Looks like maybe it's going to get through the high of the day. Here, remember, here's the early high. Right here. So sellers come in. See that red 5-minute candle? The way I view that is, all right, it's either going to roll over here or these sellers are going to get taken out, and then it could push through the high of the day once it starts lighting up the new high sticker. If you look to the left, yesterday's high not very far away. So there's another catalyst. A high of day break is a catalyst, and a break of yesterday's high is a catalyst. So you have what I call stacked catalysts over this red candle, stop below this little base. Okay, so my idea for the chat room was 39.52. I wanted it to get over. I kind of view 50 cents as kind of a half number. We talk about whole numbers all the time, could be resistance. I feel that way a little bit about the half numbers too, the 39.50, 38.50, and so on. So my idea was 39.52, stop about 20 cents below. So there is the push. Then you got the high of day test through the high of day, little flag, and then through yesterday's high. So it did exactly what we had looked for. And from 39.52 on about 20 cents risk, it ended up going to 40.28. So, I mean, not too bad. A good 70-something cents there. Another early idea I had was ACN. I did not have this on watch going into today, but I noticed it on this massive volume. There's an opening 5-minute candle. If you look at the daily, it was in breakout territory on the daily. Okay, so for this reason, it's got to go on watch. And then I'll switch to 2-minute candles, and this is what I showed everybody in chat. So I wasn't very familiar with ACN, but you had this nice tight base below 69. I said through 69, stop below the base, probably about 30 cents below, could get you pushed through the high of the day, and boom, there is, right there's your push through 69. Worst case stop's going to go about 30 cents below, okay? And it took a while, but just grind. Let me switch to 5s again. Grinded higher and made its way all the way from, there's that base I showed you. So this was the breakout idea right there. And the stop right here about 30 cents below. And you can see it grinded higher to, I think 70.65. So from 69, what is that? You know, $1.65 on about 30 cents risk. So not too bad there either. Those were a couple of my early ideas. And then let me go into, I did have one stop out here on RIM. Nope. I don't know why I said RIM. I'm losing my mind. It's the weekend. First Solar. I don't know how I confuse those two. Actually, I do know how I confuse those two. Anyway, First Solar had this big move on Thursday. Oftentimes, we'll throw something like this on watch the next day. Now, I'm not looking to chase it. I'm looking for what we call a quiet entry, okay? And it was setting up that way. It was grinding lower, grinding lower. Actually, for a quiet entry, oftentimes, I'll use 30-minute candles. Okay, so now you've got a high, lower high, and then a nice narrow 30-minute candle. So over this candle, first break of a previous 30, preferably on a narrow candle is what I'm looking for. 22.46 was my long call. Worst case stop, 22.21. So a little over 20 cents risk. And this one looked like it was going to stop me out, then looked like it was going to go, and then finally stopped me out. So there's one that didn't work, that quiet entry. I sort of did the same thing in Q-Core, but I took a flat. Q-Core is crazy. But my entry call was 18.55 right here, I think, or maybe right here. Ended up going to 18.75, and for hours just went straight sideways, which is unusual. I mean, Q-Core is a nightmare anyway. I ended up taking a flat, sold it exactly where I bought it, like 3 hours later. The only reason I hung on to it is because I told everybody I took this extremely small because it's Q-Core. So it's either going to maybe make a move and start lighting up the new highs ticker, and I'll have a really nice trade, or I'll have a small stop out. And I finally lost patience with it somewhere in this base near the end of the day and killed it for a flat. But it's unusual that it did this, because if you look at the daily, this was over 50 bucks a little over a week ago. And then today finally get a gap up. You would have expected some kind of a bounce and maybe a high of day break. So Q-Core is just a nightmare. But anyway, it turned out to be a flat trade. Hats off to a couple. Wait, I had a couple other calls. Sorry. Herbalife HLF. Again, here's the reason for the call. Made a big move yesterday, and then today I noticed it was kind of in a tight range. Took out the high of day here. And so once it did that, if it wasn't going to sell off, I thought it might get another push through the high of the day. I called it at 47.47, which triggered right here. Worst case stop, I think 20 cents below. And it grinded higher. Doesn't look like much, but it went to 47.80 something. Almost a 40-cent move. Took over an hour. It was just one of those goofy days where nothing really got any legs. So I made a little money on Herbalife. TPX, after the gap up on the news yesterday, and it grinded lower all day. Then today gaps down. TPX, I'll zoom in a little bit here to show you why I called this one. It comes up, challenges the high of the day. This is one after the action yesterday. If it lights up the new highs ticker, it might get going. Okay, so here's the early high. Now it's putting in a lower high. Okay, it came up to challenge the high of the day. They fought it off, and then I like this little flag. I thought, hey, I like this on the first break of a previous 5-minute candle's high, which was over this candle, 29.83, 29.73. So you're talking about a dime risk. There's the trigger, holds the stop, and then gets through the high of the day. So from 29.83, this got to 30.40-ish in pretty short order, and was a decent little midday trade. Nothing to write home about, but I mean, on a dime risk, it was a pretty nice little trade. All right, and then that, I think, was all of my calls. And, again, the All-Stars had some good calls, but I only was able to record a couple of them. So Shady, one of our All-Stars, I got to get him to change the name. Who's going to trust a guy named Shady, right? But he chose it, not me. He called STX here at 30.92 with a stop about 13 cents below. I mean, almost picked the bottom clean, 30.92, and pretty quickly to almost 31.40. Beautiful call by Shady. And then Wayne keeps trying, never mind. Wayne called Macy's down here. It was hitting the 200-day right here. All right, and then Wayne called it when it looked like this. We all knew it was hitting the 200-day. He said it might wash and rinse below 37, which means just take out the stops below 37 and reverse, and look at that. Beautiful. And ended up going up and closing near the highs of the day. So basically Wayne called this right around 37 with a stop, I think, about 11 cents below. Beautiful call. We'll just call the entry 37. Push down. I don't remember the exact, but he was saying might wash and rinse below, and the stop 13 cents below, I think. Actually, I think it was 36.89, so 11 cents below. It doesn't matter. Anyway, you can see a nice move there. So hats off to those guys. I know there were other good calls, but I didn't do a good job recording them. So let's leave it at that. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you guys on Monday.